Hey guys, welcome back. I think to part 6 of my build. So make sure you get your notebooks out because the information you're about to get is really top notch. So I'm here in my mate's shed now. I'm here with Dondre. How you going, Dondre?
Good, mate.
Good. So I've had the car with you for the last 2 weeks. Do you want to explain what you've done?
Yeah, well, you rocked up with the engine in it, mounted in, but no wiring or plumbing done. So we've connected all the heater matrix, all that's all done up. As you can see over there, there's a fuel filter. This used to be a 3 litre at one stage, and then it became a TD42, and now it's on its 3rd cycle of M57. So we've just
Upgraded.
installed the fuel pump where the old TD lift pump was, which is next to the tank. The idea behind that is so that the fuel pump's always primed because, I mean, gravity feeds it. So apparently they don't seem to last as long if they're mounted up higher than the tank. In saying that, my conversion, I've got it higher than the tank. It's just this one was convenient since it had a lift pump in there. For the thermo fans, which are Davy Craig 16-inch fans, we've got the little controller that comes with it. It's got them wired in. It's pretty nifty. You can adjust the settings on exactly what temperature you want it to set in, which is pretty cool. And then the sensor that comes along with it is pretty shitty. It's an external sensor that you're supposed to zip tie to the radiator somewhere. So we've had to go on eBay and buy an aftermarket sensor. And took us 2 goes to get the right one, but make sure you get a 1/8 NPT, not the 1/4 inch MPT. Then obviously we've done the top and bottom radiator hoses, just with T-bolt clamps. And
So
then,
you've gone the better clamps on them as well? Is there a reason why you went with that?
No, well, I figured rather do it once, do it right.
Yep.
Especially under the manifold. If they were to pop off when you're going somewhere, you'd be a hard time getting in there, being all hot and whatnot. So then we've gone and split the TD loom. The amount of wiring, like you would have seen the TDs used to have those little primer pumps over there, rip that out. They can't handle the pressure. So the pressure this fuel pump runs is 5 bar, which is equivalent to about 70 pound, 70 PSI, where just a TD lift pump, they're a fraction of that. So the actual filter from what I've read up can't handle that pressure, so that's been removed. We go directly from the filter below, the pump below the engine, below the car, straight to that filter there. And that filter there is actually the BMW X5 filter. So I couldn't tell you exactly what micron spec they are, but being common rail, it needs a bit more filtration as opposed to the old TD tractors. This vehicle also had a stainless steel exhaust manifold that the boys have changed out. They've opted for this aftermarket version, which is not as prone to cracking. Note when you do change over to that manifold, you're going to have to get some longer bolts between your turbo and your manifold.
Yeah, my bad.
Or you're going to have some drums there. So we've gone and changed the bolts out. We've also connected up the drain and oil feed for the turbo. And then, so the exciter wire that's used to excite the actual engine is actually the exact same exciter wire that's used throughout the 3 litre or the TD42. That doesn't get done through the actual wiring side of the M57. So we keep the exciter wire to the same as the Patrol, purely for the reason that's kind of the only wire you're going to have that comes from the TD, so to say. Like all the other information pretty well gets piggybacked off your ECU. So your tachometer is going to come off the ECU, which if you have a TD, you might need a module. But this vehicle used to be a 3 litre, so I hope I can tap into it. And then also the oil light. But besides that, the exciter wire, that runs the starter motor, the rest of it all goes through the ECU. You don't have to worry about any of it.
So the wiring side of stuff, like what did you tap into for
there's a couple ways. Like I say, there's more than 10 ways to skin a cat. But What you can do, you just need to find your ignition power. So if you've got ignition power and constant power, which most people find from under the dash, which is also a thing, on my conversion, I actually found it from the wiper motor. So what I do is I run a relay to the wiper motor, and what that does is as soon as the wiper motor, which is on your final key stroke of your ignition barrel, that triggers a relay, which then powers up a 40 amp circuit for me to use as an ignition circuit without having to go back and forth through the firewall. So that's how I switch a lot of these things, just triggering it through the wiper motor. You don't have to do it that way. Obviously you can go behind the ignition barrel, but that's where everybody seems to go, and 9 out of 10 times if you go in there, it's pretty shitty. Like there's insulation tape and yeah, looks like shit. For coolant sensors on this vehicle, it's got pillar pods. So it's got red arc sensors, which are, I don't know if you can see them, they're under the manifold. I've got a red arc sensor under there as well. What I've done is, this is, where'd you buy this one? This is ASL?
Yeah, that was
Fusion Fab.
Yeah. I've got a bit video, so I'll quickly show the video of the, I did explain what it is. So I did take a quick video of it.
Take a quick video
that's
of
just
it,
to
so
match
I'll show
up
that in a sec.
For a factory temp gauge to work too, just so it looks tidy.
Yeah, and how'd you get that to work, the factory temp gauge, for those that want to run
so
the temp
factory
gauge?
temp gauge on the TD was just a single wire temp sensor, which normally sits on the top of your thermostat housing on the TDs.
Yeah.
And what I've done is I've just got another one of those sensors, a new one, and took that exact wire, because I've stripped all the wiring out from the TD. I've backtraced it back to the fuse box, and I ran in a conduit its own little wire, and obviously it just earths out through the block. So that was quite easy to obtain.
So where's the temp sensor now?
That temp sensor is the other one that sits next to the red arc one underneath the manifold.
Right, and you'll see that in the video I'll show. I'll stop it here for a sec and just give you a quick rundown of what it's like, because I do have a video with the manifold off, and you'll see what he's talking about in there, so you'll work it out with that part. Just, yeah, obviously you're doing the build, so you'll understand. Yeah. So let's
show you what's going on in the car.
Yep. The brain of the operations.
So unfortunately everything is everywhere at the minute. This vehicle got opted to get the ECU fitted in under here. It's not completed yet. These wires will have to get tidied up. So what we have got here, that's your ECU with your factory big plug, goes straight into the ECU. That ECU has also been pre-programmed by ASL. So a lot of the functions have been switched off to get us to use these things in conversions. That is the factory blue relay. What that does is that triggers your ECU to switch on and switch off. And that's a little fuse bank that you get with if you pull the X5 loom out. I've just opted to put the diagnostic port there, just out of the way sort of thing. And these wires that are left over here, as soon as we get the vehicle running, at the minute it hasn't got a oil cooler in it, but as soon as it's running I can connect these two wires. They go to the dash. One is the function for the tachometer and the other one is the oil light. And then down here, because we've got the ECU all the way over that end, it does make it a bit longer. I've had to extend all the loom, so that's we haven't mounted that yet. Once that gets mounted, that'll be there. And then because I need constant power for the ECU, I need 2 constant powers for there. I need a constant power for the fuel pump relay. There's about 3 or 4 different things I need constant power for. What I've opted to do, I've put a power bus in here, and then that is directly coupled to the battery with a 100 amp fuse. And what that gives me the ability to do is, instead of running 40 wires through the firewall, I can just keep it nice and tidy, tucked away, and then, you know how cars are, you're always going to want to put more stuff in later on.
Yeah, run stuff off it.
You've got a power bank there. Once you take that off, it is surge protected with a 100 amp fuse in case it does become a problem, but knock on wood, it shouldn't. So you've got plenty more room there to put more things on. as far as that, I think the vehicle still needs an exhaust made up, which we will do once it gets running. We're just waiting on that freaking wall cooler.
And I'll show you a picture in it in a sec. I'll drop it up here just so you understand what I'm waiting for, because it's the last piece of the puzzle. Hopefully today we can turn the key and see if it's actually going to start. I know that I've done some other, my bits that I've done are right, so I guess we'll...
It is going to throw oil out.
Yeah, but I just want to see it run. It's been nearly over a year and a half. Oh, and down here you can see where he's put the fuel pump. It's just sitting there next to the gearbox.
Inside the chassis rail.
Inside the chassis rail, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, you want to kick it in the gas real quick?
Yeah, let's see if it goes. Moment of truth.
I'll have to turn it off real quick.
Yep, I'll come out here, so if it ever happens, yeah, let's go. Fingers crossed. See if this thing fires up.
While you're in here, I'll show you something real quick.
Yep. Inside?
Yeah, have a squeeze here. So when people do wire these things up, you have to be careful. It's got a brown wire that goes to the blue relay. That's like a trigger wire. What happens is, I've seen online, there's a couple different things that people do is they take it off and they put it to ignition, and what that does is that actually turns your ignition on and off. It's actually pretty important to leave that wired up straight to the ECU, to the relay, because what happens is that blue relay, its job is to switch your ignition, but when you turn your ignition off, it actually keeps the car on for, I think it's 10 seconds or so. Well, not the car, the ECU keeps it live just so it can store all its features and functions, I guess. But yeah, once you turn the key off, you actually wait 10 seconds and then you hear that relay go tick.
And I'll try and show that to you. I'll try and get my mic off and tuck it in there so you hear it go tick.
Yeah, but let's see if we can start it.
It starts. Stand up here. Come on. Here we go. The moment of truth. Oh, yeah. And as you see, then all the oil's pumping out. Oh, yes. That's sick. And then, yeah, that's the little blue bit he was telling you about there. That will turn off. Didn't have time to, so I was too excited to see that, but that just literally just, you can see on that video just then, as he started it, the oil just started pissing out. So that means it's prime, but everything's ticking over. I can smell the diesel. Just got to wait for that bloody oil cooler. And then it should be systems go, and then that's where we start making all the rest of it. So, what a bugger, but
that's it.
That's about it. So all the wiring got talked about, where it all runs to and that. Like if anyone does that's from ASL mods that
yeah, they're pretty good. If you have any dramas with them and get stuck.
Yeah, which one did you use? Fusion Fab, didn't you?
No, I have bought a lot of stuff all Fusion Fab. Reason I didn't go Fusion Fab is because they were not supplying an ECU, and I bought my engine without an ECU. So I used a company called ECU Wier, which is from Bulgaria. Extremely helpful. And I mean, put it this way, this is an ECU they sent me. So they sent me a wiring loom with this ECU, and it got here and it was faulty. And Albert didn't even question it. He just sent me another one. I said, what do you want me to do with this? He's like, well, it's no good to me. So if you were to go buy these in Australia, I don't know if they're $250 or...
Yeah, well, mine was still pretty new in mine, so
yeah. So I know if you do buy a whole wreck, you can just send them out to whether it be ASL or Fusion Fab, both extremely helpful. But pretty long wait on them these days. It's actually quicker to just call that ECU wire in Bulgaria. They were a week and a half turnaround. I had everything.
Yeah, right. There you go.
Where if you were to go ask for a loom now from either of the Australian suppliers, it seems to be a bit of a wait because it's getting more popular, these conversions.
Well, more people are going it, so
yeah,
more demand, longer to get it. So.
Good fuel economy on these little things. I think that's why, and for the return on power, I guess that's why everyone's doing it.
Yep, and you as well.
Yeah, I blew a TD up and I needed one real quick.
So how long did it take for you to do yours?
Look, with waiting on parts, from TD blowing up to driving back out of the shed, I was in 6 weeks.
6 weeks.
But I was waiting for parts for most of it. I'd say probably 130 to 140 hours.
Yeah, right.
To get the swap done, but I wasn't smart enough to go on all these Facebook forums at the stage.
Yeah.
Where now if you go on Facebook, I think it's M57 Powered Patrols or M57 anyway, Something Australia.
Yeah.
You can ask just about anything and they can help you out there. It's really helpful.
Yeah, definitely. Righto, well, that's started. So that's a bonus. A lot of information. Yeah, it starts. It's not actually running, but it will once I get that oil cooler. A bit of information for you. So that's where we're up to now. Once that gets started, I'm going to send it to another guy's place and he's going to do all the piping and everything from there. So everything that I've cut corners with doing, Dondre's fixed it up for me. Things I thought I was doing, I didn't. But if you have a look, like he's ran all the conduit like tidy as for like the thermo fans. He's got that set on 40 for now till we get it going, just so we can feel it kick in. Everything's running sweet. So hope that helps. I'll end it here, and the next time you're watching this, it'll be running, and I'll have the intercooler piping done. I still got to do the exhaust, but at least it started. So thanks for watching, guys. If it's helped, make sure you hit the like button. Please hit the thumbs up if that's helped you at all. Just hit it, and if anything else you want to know, just leave us a comment in the comments, and I'll answer when I can. All right, guys, thanks for watching. Remember, guys, hit the like button, subscribe, and notifications for more videos. Thanks for watching.